about even right there.
How many teeth are showing?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
How many on that one?
I think less. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are showing on that one.
And 7 is showing on this one?
Yeah.
That's fine. We just need to have it sturdy, so
you're in between.
you can get rid of these little stands and go with a 6-ton jack stand. 2 of them. Put them underneath the frame so you don't kill yourself. And let the frame hold it. So this is your jacking point right here. On the rivets, on the passenger side, rivets that hold the, how does it look?
Good. Sitting in there nicely.
Alright.
And tires are off the ground.
Alright, so we need our bottleneck because we're going to have to use that over there by the wheel to compress the shock. Compress the shock absorber to loosen that to change the spring if the shock absorber gets in the way. Alright, got the wheel off. Next step to get these springs off. We're doing this the quick way. Just jack up right here on the bolt for the I-beam radius arm. Go up, take some pressure off this shock here. Okay, now pressure's off that shock. We compress the spring a little bit. We want to take these Monroes, these RV shocks, off at the bottom here. Probably the easiest to get to from behind. We take that loose, take that off, and then let the shock hang.
Alright, go.
What do we got to do?
Take this off.
What size?
Let's see. Alright, it's 18 millimeter.
Here. What do you need to get to it? You can't use the impact?
I got the socket. Too less space. Almost off, yeah. Pretty much.
How about now?
You got a little bit of bolt in there, but it's pretty much off.
Yeah, but I don't want to tear the rubber. How about now? Let's see.
It wants to spring back into place.
Yeah, I know. So you pry back
there
from the top there. Move the shock forward and back like that. Leave the top bolt tight. You can loosen it if you want to. If you want to take a longer way around. Now, why don't you crawl out from underneath the vehicle? Okay. Now as you're holding the shock out of the way so you don't damage the rubber, lower the assembly past the point of shock. Okay. So now the shock isn't maxed out anymore. Okay, and this is it. I mean, this is all we got. So now we have the spring here. Now what's next? We got to get this bolt off. What is that, 12 millimeter?
Probably. 10?
10.
Alright.
I don't know why a 10 holds a shock on, but there you go. A 10 holds your shock in place. So you got your little 10 millimeter, which just fell down there.
Got your...
And your clip that holds your shock in place.
Self-explanatory how it goes on.
Yeah, but see how it locks here?
Ah, okay.
You gotta pay attention to that, okay? So you want that lock to lock back in place. Now, notice how your spring is set. Your coils, your bunched up coils, always go to the top on just about any coil spring. And then you got your bottom. Now, do we need a spring compressor for this? I don't know. Let's see if it hits us in the face. Go give me a large flathead. Alright. Alright, so you got your coil spring. Might be helpful to have 2 people, somebody to push down on that at the same time. I don't know, I changed these myself a long time ago. Yeah, see, as you push down, you get loose. You grab your spring, pull it out. Okay, now once your spring is out, you gotta get it off this catch. So you can see, cock it sideways and pull it out. Now, there's your spring. That's the HD spring for 5.4 liters. Alright. Now let's match up the diesel. Now here's your diesel spring. Let's match that joker up.
Tiniest bit longer.
It looks almost identical, except maybe you got a few more curls here.
Maybe it's because these are worn out, huh?
I don't know about that. I mean, I'll count the coils later, but geez, these are not right and left Pacific. Now you have an insulator here. This is a plastic insulator. As you can see, mine is destroyed. I mean destroyed, because it was stock. But luckily for me, in my Econoline, I bought some new insulators. So give me those new insulators. They're pretty much universal across all Econoline here. Probably fit a different bunch of other vehicles. There's your part number. Pause the video, look at it, whatever. Now let's see how this insulator goes on. Here's your $16 insulator.
It's just a piece of rubber.
Piece of shit. Okay, so take your insulator and pry it on there. There's your insulator, right?
Done.
Done deal. Now, don't you dare undo this big bolt right here for no reason. I've seen other people try to make videos where they unbolting all the shit they don't need to. There. So here's your spring. You want to try to get that back in place. And then the hard part's going to come in a minute, where I got to pry this in there.
Push down.
Okay. Get a long screwdriver like I got, or a crowbar. Either which one you prefer. You got to get it past this hump. Okay. Alright. Spring is in place. Now you can see you got that notch right up here. Film underneath here. See that notch? Piece of metal.
Yeah.
Your metal clip right here with your 10mm. Fits up underneath here.
There you go, that's a notch.
You get it wedged in between the spring here. Follow it into the notch.
Yeah, there you go.
Am I in the notch?
Yeah, there's a video.
Okay. And you come back with your 10mm. You're going to see what diesel springs do. Let's say they're not applicable, whatever. They're not.
Doesn't fit.
Doesn't fit this 5.4 liter.
Looks like they're fitting.
Well, there's no question that they were going to fit. The only question was, how much rod height am I going to get out of these? And how stiff are they going to be? Are they going to knock your teeth out while you're driving? I don't know. But like I said, I needed this extra.
Alright, so let's probably put the shock back on now.
Right, next step, get your jack ready. Again.
I'm going to leave it like Haynes and say installation is a reverse of removal.
I'm sick of Haynes. He needs a new pair of shoes. Stop wearing Reeboks in the 1980s. Alright. Get that shock ready.
Good, go up.
Let me know when you're ready. Oh, I can see it. This is how to change the springs the easy way, okay?
Alright, right there, it's pretty good.
No. Alright. How's that look?
Pretty good right there. Where's the...
What are you going to do? Don't beat on that shock. There's any dents in it. Look, straighten it out. Okay?
Yeah, it's pretty straight right there.
Okay. Let me try going down, maybe it'll fit easier. You play with this a little bit, you'll get it. There. It should slide right on without damaging the rubber. And I still have silicone grease on here, because I use silicone grease on all my bushings, because petroleum rots rubber. So you want to use a silicone, a non-petroleum grease. Stop squeaks and stuff. People think you put WD-40 motor oil and all that stuff on your bushings. If you do that, you won't have any bushings in about 6 months. Don't you put white lithium grease or anything like that. You want to put anything that is a non-petroleum based substance. I've heard of people putting Armor All in their bushings and it stops the squeaking and it doesn't damage the bushings. I'm sure these Monroes are due for a changing, but they still have some charge left in them. They're not free jumping. The purpose of this is to get some more height in the front, stop wheel hop.
Alright, it's pretty tight.
And accommodate for a wider rim. A rim that has a higher stance out around a curve. Okay. Alright, driver's side, same concept. We're doing the driver's side now, same concept. I already moved the shock. Yada yada. We got the sway arm still attached, still in there in its original Moog bushing that I put in a long time ago. So we got all that. We didn't have to fool with the steering linkage. We didn't have to turn the wheels any direction, and we didn't have to remove the energy suspension. Nothing. None of the bushings. None of the radius arm bushings or anything. So we got the same concept. So now we need a pry down on this spring. This one might be a little tighter. You might feel a difference, or maybe not. So give me a foot there, buddy. Okay, we're gonna pry down on this right here. You can use a crowbar for this. I understand most of you people out there might not have a long flathead like this. Okay, got that out of there. And we got our brittle piece of crap. This one was in better shape than the other one, but it was still brittle. The purpose of this insulator is so you don't feel that ride between your floorboard and the spring. And you don't hear the clunking of the spring bouncing up and down. Now, variable rate versus constant rate versus semi. The way I understand it, the difference is it's all about down travel. You got a bunch of coils up here at the top for a variable rate, meaning a lot of travel. Personally, in an Econoline, that travel in the front wheel is what causes tire chop and a shitty ride. Okay, I'd rather feel a bunch of bumps banging versus a choppy ride. Wearing out front tires, wearing the inside out, throwing off the caster camber. This way.
Camber, yeah, that's camber.
It's messing with the camber angle bad. All kinds of issues. You might put a bunch of weight in the back of the van. You might feel the steering wheel loosen up real nice. Then you might take that weight out and it might feel like the steering wheel got stiff again, like there's a lot of weight on the front tires or something's off. All that has something to do with the angle of this, of the spindle, of the steering knuckle, and all of that. And that's the thing that I hate about the twin I-beam system. I really hate that about the twin I-beam. But I love the Econoline and the way that it's built. I would take it over a Chevy Express any day of the week. But you got to deal with some of the drawbacks to this design. And this is one of the drawbacks. Now, on the pickup trucks, it seems to be a lot better. On the F-150s, 250s, and 350s. Their steering system, their suspension is a lot better. Go ahead down. I'm gonna need some serious. All right, let's stop filming. I can get you to put some weight down on this. All right, that wasn't that hard. It just needs a little oomph on it. Let's get your lock in place here. Get in between your springs. I can't go that way. You gotta play with this till you get it in. Okay, there we go. Now let's, yeah, okay. Bastard. Alright. Let's get it back out. Let me try coming in there at this angle. How about that? Nope, thought I was gonna find an easier way to do it. Starting over here at this angle. Okay, you can move the spring a little bit, that helps. Then you get it to latch in place. Get your hole lined up. Get your 10 mil. Alright. There we go. We got an insulator, we got our diesel springs that say you can't put them on this particular year.
Watch the speed.
Alright, that's it, not too tight. Alright, let's get this wheel on, let's get this vehicle on the ground. Let's back it up back and forth and see what kind of height we put on this and how stiff it is. Alright, so you can see the van's still off the ground. You can see the tire off the ground. That's with nothing underneath the front end. That's letting it drop all the way. Now the shock is backed out to its max. Okay, so this is the only reason I'm pointing this out is there's a lot of questions surrounding. Do I need to change my shocks if I add a 2-inch lift to the front end? If I add a lift spacer underneath right here is where you would put a lift spacer. You would get another bolt, which is this is an odd size bolt, by the way, that Ford has. You'd get a bolt and you'd put a spacer on here and pick it up 2 inches or an inch by putting a spacer underneath. Now, unless you plan on going off road and your vehicle looks like this, where your wheels cock that far down, back up, I don't really see the need to buy a Ranchero or an extended shock. That just seems absurd. I mean, that's an extreme amount of down travel.
If we did that, we might be able to put bigger tires on it.
Well, that's for people who want to lift their vans way up in the air, and in that case, these springs wouldn't work. I mean, unless you added spacers, and then even 2 inches you could lift without doing any modifications. So people ask, can I lift my vehicle 2 inches? Well, I'm fixing to do that, at least 1.5 inches with these stronger springs. At least, I haven't seen anybody else make a video that added diesel springs to a gasoline engine
and it affect ride height
and see and report on the ride height, the stiffness, etc. But we're fixing to do that now. It's because we're using the Moog CC. I can't read the rest of it.
The CC81366.
I call them by the last 2 digits because all the first digits are the same. So that's a 66. And then where's my cheat sheet at? All right, so this is my cheat sheet. I mean, the 7.3 liter diesel is the constant, supposed to be a constant rate spring.
That's ours.
That's the ones we just put on. Now, I told you, later in the video, you're going to hear me say it again, that the V10 springs can use anything. They can use the stock spring for the 5.4 liter. That's for the V10. Even though the V10's heavier, they're still saying use the same spring. You can use the heavy duty, the HDs like I have that I just took off, that are 8 years old, right there on the ground. Those are Moog, and those were CC8 1368. And then you can use the stock spring that comes from Ford with a CC81 370. So you can use the 68, which is heavy duty. You can use the 70, which is stock, or you can use the 66, which is diesel. Those are the only 3 springs that call for this vehicle. Now, for some strange reason, I don't know if it's the spring tower or whatnot, but when you get up into the 07 model range, they say you can use those diesel springs on a gasoline engine.
Yeah, that's weird.
That's very weird that they would say that, but they say you can do that. They skip over a wide variety of years, like this year, 99, and 2000, 2001, etc. And they go up to like, I think it's either 07 or 14 or somewhere in that range. They say you use the diesel springs for a stock Econoline E350 Super Duty. So that's pretty strange. So maybe this spring tower is higher. I don't know. Maybe the radius arm is longer. I doubt it, but it's probably something to do with that. Of course, I don't know. So we'll see what happens when we do this.
But didn't it?
Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. It shot it up pretty level. I mean, I'm on rock right now, but
mostly even terrain.
Yeah, I mean, the spring hasn't had a chance to bounce enough. I mean, at first I thought it was going to be a serious problem, but not now. Let's come around and come right. The tire's kind of pointed inward just a little bit, but not bad. That's because I backed up last, but not really. Might need a slight adjustment, but I think I'm going to let it ride for a little while and see how it rides. See if I can let the springs wear in the place. You know what? Stand in front of it. Let me back up to the corner.
Alright.
Look, got some bounce to it.
Yeah? But it doesn't stay like that. it's got some bounce to it.
Does it?
When you hit the brakes, went down and up real quick.
Yeah. But it didn't go down, did it?
No, it didn't stay down. That's the thing.
Okay, well look at the wheel. I mean, it's not cocked in any which direction, inward or out, right?
Not necessarily. Not severely.
Not the drive side. I don't see that. I see a better profile. Let's check the passenger. What do you think we should do? Stick a level on it? Stick a camber tool on it?
Could stick a camber tool on it.
Check the camber.
Yeah.
I have some camber bushings. We can adjust the camber. But I don't think we need to. I think I need to let these springs soften up a little bit, go down is where they're gonna go. Okay, so it boosted my rod height a little. I'll tell you what, we'll take a tape measurement. Pause that video. All right, so it doesn't feel like it's nose diving anymore. So let's take a double check, see where we are at fender well. We are at 36 1/4, roughly. Just a guesstimate. Let's see if it jumped up any. Wow, 35 1/2. So these springs only boosted me up a 1/2 inch.
1/4 of an inch, probably.
No, because this was 35 before, roughly. Okay. So I'm only an inch taller. I mean, a 1/2 inch taller in the rear.
Check the driver's side, see if it's consistent.
Of course, the concrete makes everything crazy. And then this is only the fender well, so I'm a little over 35 1/2 here, 35 3/4 on this side. That's because of the weight distribution inside the vehicle and the concrete.
Let's check the back now on this side.
Oh yeah.
So 35 3/4 about.
Yeah, you can see this back wheel's on a slight hump.
More close to 35 and actually 3/4.
36
Just about.
from my eye. All right.
So it boosted a little bit overall.
So we'll have to take it down the road and see what happens, right?
Yeah.
Unless they mixed up the box and gave me stock springs and they're going to flatten themselves out later. But I don't think so. Alright. Alright, so interesting point here. Interesting point. You can see those timbering bushings, which are sitting right here. They used to stay mashed up to there. And you could feel those timberings when you turned a tight corner. You could feel the spring bouncing, or the timbering kicking in, and it trying to rebound the spring because the spring was given too much. Now you can see that the timbering is slightly touching like it's supposed to, but it's not compressed. Same with the other side. So that's an interesting point, that we gained about a 1/2 inch of lift, and hopefully we gained enough stiffness in the spring or give to take some weight off of these timberings in here to get a better ride in the front and to not nosedive as much as we have been, which is a pretty interesting fact. Now we'll find out. We don't think the van was lifted enough to mess with the camber. So we're gonna drive it and find out, but we don't think so.
Best way to find out would be how it rides, if it'll drift to one side or not.
That'll throw it off and make it drift, because it'll want to tend to drive toward the flat side of the tire.
And then oversteer and understeer too.
Right.
Which is toe.
Right. Well, like I said, it's like loading the back of your vehicle with an extra 300 or 400 pounds, and then you get a different steer in the front. So maybe we won't have that problem now because we boosted the front up. Now I don't know if these springs could handle, a 300-pound bull bar in front, but we'll find out later. We got to let them settle a couple days, weeks. So the steering feels better. It feels easy like it used to when you load a heavy, appliance or something in the rear. And believe it or not, it's softer. It's a softer rod. And I think I know the theory behind why it's softer. Because the spring isn't compressed all the way down, bearing down on that timbering bushing, bottoming out. So So the timbering was making it stiff because it was bearing down on it. I felt the timbering hit that time, and it's still not nosediving. All in all, I'd say it's better. I'm at 75 and coasting. Yeah, I like it a lot better than it was before because I got a softer ride because I'm not bearing down on that rubber, smashing that rubber down, that timbering bump stop, and it's got a softer cushion in the front end. Even with diesel springs, I thought it would be the opposite, but I was wrong. It's because it took it up. I'm so used to driving it with the timbering mashed down and it being such a hard hit in the front end that it's softer. So this is about where I would want it if it stays like this. Hopefully these springs stay like this for a long time, for at least another 80 years like the other ones. And I'm not nose diving as much. I mean, I can tell that half-inch to 3/4 inch difference in height and lift in the front. Because before I would look through the windshield and I'd be looking more down at the concrete on the highway versus up in the air a little bit more. So yeah, it gave me about a 3/4 inch lift. So there you go. That's the review on these particular diesel springs. If you're going to use them over the HD, don't be afraid to. You get about a 3/4 inch lift from an HD spring, and you probably get at least a 1 inch lift or more over a stock spring, depending on how much weight you put in the front end. And we got the timberings in the front and the rear, which are the rubber bushings. The overload rubber bushings that are rated for about 2,500 pounds for front and rear for being able to weight your vehicle down. So it looks like this was a successful switch out, and for 150 bucks or 160 bucks, changing out those move springs in about 20 minutes. You saw that most of the prep work was done in jacking the vehicle up and all that. So let's pause the video and then we'll try another on ramp and see what happens. Or you know what? Let's take this off ramp here and see how much sway we have. Not too bad. It's nice and soft like the other stock van is. The stock passenger van. So we got a little more cushion in the front, which was what I wanted, but didn't anticipate. Stop. Not bad.
Hardly nosedive. Just a little bit.
No, I mean the timberings caught that, but yeah, they're not going to go down that much. We can stop the video until we take off and get to the other. Turn the AC off.
So it did affect steering then?
Yeah, absolutely.
by throwing the alignment a certain way a little bit.
It's pretty stable. And it's pretty windy outside right now.
No oversteering, understeering issue?
No. I think it corrected the stock caster camber bushings that came with it from the factory.
Alright.
Alright, let's take an exit and see what happens here. Got an exit. Yeah, that comes down to a stop pretty quick for a 10,000 pound vehicle. And I didn't have any front end problems. No vibration, no hops, no wheel hop, none of that you would normally get stopping at that fast of a pace. Of course, I got the cross drilled rotors and ceramic pads front and rear. So stopping is probably
Not a problem.
no, not a problem for this van, but you know, that's for all this weight. But just cruising at 40 miles an hour, it feels great.
Yeah,
Doesn't it?
it does. It's all smooth.
I mean, I'm used to driving it every day. Let's try some railroad tracks before I turn. It's just normal tools and shit in the back. No big deal. Alright, cut the video. We'll measure it when we get back. The height of the fender. Alright. So overall, we think it's better. What do you think? Look at that, we're at 35 3/4. We were riding at 35 before in front.
Yeah.
This one's a little less, probably because I'm sitting on a hump, or maybe tire air pressure plays a part. What do we hear? A little less than 36 and a half, so we're 36 1/4.
Yeah.
And here we are at 36 1/4. That's good.
It's closer together, front and rear height.
Right, so super singles, 4,000 pound rated tire. You tow the trailer, pretty good. And then our diesel springs in the front on the gasoline Triton V8. All these are Russian tires, I guess, or from that region.
Eastern European.
Right, yeah. So, one thing I wanted to point out, if anybody's still watching the video as a bonus, since they're never going to find this tire, note the size of this tire. 285/65/16 on a 10-inch rim, which gives you approximately 30 inches of height. We're at about 30 inches. See that? Center, 30. Now let's check your stock tires that come on your cargos that are the larger of the two sizes versus the 225. Now this is a stock 245/75/16. And these are all load range E tires. Let's see what we get here. Look at that diameter, 30. Good matchup, huh?
Yeah.
Only problem is you can't rotate the tires. That's okay because a spare will fit on either one. The purpose of that was to be able to carry a shit ton of weight in the rear, because we couldn't do that before. We were pulling a 37-foot camper trailer.
Uh-huh.
And it was loaded down to the max with all kinds of garbage. You know, air conditioning units, propane tanks, motorbikes, all kinds of little stuff that you could fit in the trailer. And we had this van maxed out, and we kept slinging belts.